from the pygmy rattlesnake in Florida. Someone with deep thrombosis, that's blood clots deep in the legs, probably taking echostatin from the saw-scale viper. The venom from the cobra that I showed you is being tested for working on multiple sclerosis, and they'll be entering phase 3 trials. So anytime we wipe something out like this, we're probably killing someone we love or maybe even ourselves. I want to thank you all for coming to the Tulare Reptile Expo. Thank you very much. Now, I can keep him on the table. Okay, you ready? You go. You know, he did that to me on television too while I was doing the news at Show Valley. Waited till I was too close and scared the tar out of me. Anyway, a lot of you might wonder why we would want something like this on the planet. But what a lot of you probably don't realize is how many millions and millions of lives are saved every year from the medicines derived from snake venoms. In 1981, captopril was developed. It was developed from the lancehead viper in South America. And the venom of vipers and pit vipers is very large. You can't synthesize the whole molecule. So they had to figure out, well, how does it work and what part of the molecule is doing the job? And what exactly is it targeting? When they figured it out and developed it, it completely revolutionized all pharmaceutical manufacturers. They now all concentrate on what exactly it does and where it works. So captopril is used for congestive heart failure, hypertension, and kidney problems for diabetics. Saves millions of lives every year worldwide. Many people are taking it. You know somebody like a gopher snake or something like that, but actually one bite from this little girl can put away 100 people. This is an inland taipan from the outback of Australia. It is the world's most toxic snake, and it is in magnitudes more toxic than number 2. Okay, the Belcher sea snake. So the venom does a whole lot of really cool things for you all at once. It has a vasodilator, so your blood pressure drops. Another part of the venom makes your aorta and all your arteries throughout your body very leaky. Another part of the venom is using up all the coagulants in your blood, so you bleed from everywhere. And just in case you might survive drowning in your own blood, it has the most powerful presynaptic neurotoxin of any snake on the planet. But if that wasn't enough, it also has an extremely potent postsynaptic neurotoxin. So it's like being beat up by the whole football team all at once. And you might wonder to yourself, why would you need venom that's that toxic? Well, simply, the reason is because of what they eat. They eat plague rats, which would take the head off of most snakes, and their other favorite food is bandicoots, which feed on snakes. So Mother Nature had to give it something really potent because it needs a really fast knockout punch. But what's really interesting is a friend of mine, David Williams in Australia, who works with anti-venom development, tells me that if you get bitten by this snake, and you get anti-venom within 4 to 6 hours, you're going to be just fine. In fact, only 5 people have ever been bitten by these things. All of them were handling them, which tells me I'm probably not supposed to be doing that. And all 5 survived with anti-venom treatment. So that should give you another clue about what I said earlier. If the world's most toxic snake can't put you out, what real chance does any other snake? And what about those stories about 100 pacer snakes, 2-step snakes, blah, blah? It is just that, it's blah, blah, it's nonsense. Just get anti-venom, you're gonna be fine. The only way you can die instantly is if you have developed an allergy. If you work with them a lot, some people develop an allergy in zoos because they're working around them all the time. or if you've been bitten prior. Other than that, you get bitten, you're going to be fine, okay? To emphasize the point one more time, before I moved out here, I'm from the East Coast, there was a guy in Kentucky who got bitten on the big toe by a timber rattlesnake. He was so scared, he ran into the house, grabbed a shotgun, shot his toe off, and bled to death on the way to the hospital, which is why we give Darwin Awards out every year, right? So you want to take yourself out of the gene pool, do something stupid, you know? Anyway, these do have their place in nature, but we all know that the best use for an inland taipan is a great stocking stuffer for that someone very special. Which is why Jeff's there, so I can run. He didn't out. Hey. This is Rupert, the friendly cobra. He is a black Pakistan cobra. And, come on, wake up. It's a little cold, which is probably good for me. Anyways, cobras aren't vipers or pit vipers. In fact, they have really small fangs that are fixed in the front of their mouth. But they make up for it by having really small venom proteins. So if he was to bite you, they would zip through your body really quickly and start shutting your breathing down, which is something that I'm not interested in today. But anyways, so within about a half hour, your breathing would be distressed. Within an hour or two, you could be dead. Unfortunately, where this guy comes from, there is almost no antivenom available, and the stuff that is doesn't work on this species. In fact, I've been using this particular species for about 20 years in these shows, always thinking that if I got bit, I could use my Thai Red Cross for Asian Cobra to be fine. Last year, a company that's from Pakistan that's wanting to develop antivenom there told us it doesn't work. And I thought, wait a minute. You mean after 25 years of this, now I find out the antivenom doesn't work? That's not cool. Well, all right. We'll just put in a viper from tropical Africa. These guys aren't pit vipers. They don't have those pits, but they are true vipers, so they have really long fangs that fold up against the roof of the mouth. And when this guy's a full 5 feet long, those fangs could be up to 2 inches long. And since the venom acts a whole lot like that cottonmouth I just told you about, it can create a lot of damage. The advantage to being a venomous snake is that they bite and release, so the animal isn't kicking or scratching or biting them back. It just runs off and dies. So then the snake uses his really sensitive tongue, and because the venom changed the chemical signature of the animal it just bit, it can follow that. So venom is a threefold advantage. It prevents damage to the snake, it kills the prey, and provides a tracking device. These guys are ambush predators, so they'll sit along the path, wait for something to run by, and reach out and give it a kiss. And what a great way to be. Anyways, these guys, if you were to run into them in the wild, they would freeze and hope you passed them by, blending in perfectly with the forest floor. Well, rattlesnakes do the same thing. A lot of people hope that, you know, if they walk up on them, they're going to rattle a long ways off. Well, only a couple species are known to do that. Most of them freeze, hoping you'll just walk by. So anywhere in the world that you are, if you run into a venomous snake and you don't want to play, take 2 steps back and walk around, you'll be just fine. Now this is a beautiful snake, isn't it? I mean, I'd like to have something like this. Yeah, I would too. Oh, I do. This is Verizon. Can you hear me now? All right. My name's Carl Person. I'm from Loma Linda University. We do graduate and undergraduate studies in biology. For graduate, you can specialize in herpetology, reptiles, amphibians. We do grounded water research in the Bahamas, sea turtles in Honduras. We do ground boas here and there. We do rattlesnakes, cobras, everything. And you're going to meet some of our animals today. If you know anyone that wants to get started in a career in reptiles instead of getting a real job, come over and see me at the booth, and I'll get your name and number, and then I'll give it to my professor, and he'll contact you. Okay, this first creature is the water moccasin from the southeastern coastal plain. This is the one you hear all the stories about, where they're going to chase you down and bite you, take you to the bottom of the swamp or whatever you might have heard. The truth is, when you approach these guys, they'll coil up in a nice tight coil, tilt their head back, open their mouth, and expose the white interior. And that's where they get their other name, cottonmouth, from. Cottonmouths are pit vipers. That means in the darkest of nights, in those bogs and swamps where they live, they get a beautiful 3D infrared image of everything going on around them. And that's a real advantage for hunting prey. But the pits do another thing. They can also tell the difference between net negative and net positive charges. Scaly things have a net negative charge. Warm-blooded furry things and people have a net positive charge. So you can imagine how great a benefit having those pits really is. Now, because he's a pit viper, he also has really long fangs that fold up against the roof of the mouth. And so when they open up and bite, they inject the venom real deep. So if you were bitten by this guy, within about an hour, your hand will be 3 times its normal size and start turning black due to lack of blood flow. Within a couple hours, your whole arm is involved in it. The only thing you should do, though, is call 911 or go to the hospital. Any of the things that you read to do, any of the snake bite kits that you see on sale at Bass Pro or wherever, all they do is make everything much, much worse. If you cut a little hole in your hand and try and suck the venom out, because they have a special additive in their venom to help speed up the process, you're not really going to get venom. You're probably going to get a mouthful of your own lymph. And so you cut a little hole, an hour and a half later, you've got big gaping holes and no blood flow. So the only thing you're doing is inviting gangrene. You should never do anything but go to the hospital or call 911. Antivenom is the only treatment that works. Now these guys are interesting because about 10% of the population in the wild is what we call parthenogenic. That means they can have babies without male contact. When I caught this one's mother in the Everglades, she was a baby. She's never been with another snake, yet we've gotten 3 litters from her. Anyone want to scratch it under the chin? Some crazy people out there.